All right, well, as we speak, we are patiently awaiting the results of the Mueller investigation, and I'm sure that is going to suck all of the air out of the political conversation this week. But while we wait for that, let's talk about the Democrat primary presidential race. All right, so um, first story I want to cover this week. We were speculating last week because of his responses when he was asked about it by reporters about his first day fundraising. Well, it turns out it was all a head fake. He just wanted to wait to put that information out on Monday so that it would dominate the news cycle, and he raised $6.1 million, more than everybody except for Bernie. So, well done, Beto, well played. You got me. You got me. And Beto has really been sucking the air out of the news cycle this week. So there was this story, still more negative stories about him. One time, according to a friend, Beto collected an especially verdant turd from one of their kids' diapers and put it in a bowl, telling Amy it was an avocado. Yeah, it seems like Beto was really immature when he was younger. But he's been responding to this well. He hasn't really been calling any attention to it. He just says, oh, yeah, and then it's like there's nothing else to say about it. And I think this is the way to do it. Compare this to, for instance, the I am not a witch response to this sort of a thing. Good job. And this is going to be a thing going into the future because, a lot of the politicians that you're going to be seeing rising to the front in the next couple of years were kids when the internet was getting started and may have put things out on the internet that were dumb. So that's the way you handle it. But, it's a thing. I don't think that this is hurting him, doesn't appear to be hurting him too bad. But we'll see. There does still appear to be a significant amount of pessimism around Beto. All right. So now the next thing that I want to talk about was Biden. So Biden still has not gotten in yet. I'm not sure what he's waiting for, but when the time is right, they'll come out. But the Biden team has been considering two very unorthodox things. The first thing is that they're proposing that he would only be a one-term president. He's very, very old. In fact, I think that when he gets into office, he would be older than Ronald Reagan was when Ronald Reagan left office. So he's old. And this is a concern to voters. Voters feel very strongly that they don't want somebody that's too old in the office. They wish that they were a younger person, quicker or on their feet or whatever the deal is. And then the other thing that they're proposing is that they are going to put out their vice president pick right away. And the person that is being spoken about, and in fact they have talked with her apparently, is Stacy Abrams. So Stacy Abrams, for those of you that don't recall, ran for governor in Georgia. She lost that race, but refused to concede, and even still says that she didn't really deserve to lose, that race was stolen from her. So that's Stacy, for those of you that don't know. I don't know how I feel about this move. Here's the thing. Biden appears to be coalescing the establishment side of the party, I think. That's what it appears like right now. We'll have a more clear idea when he actually steps in the ring, but that's kind of what it's appearing right now. But he has very, very serious vulnerabilities with his age and so on and so forth. And so these are interesting ideas for him to overcome that. But I really don't think that Stacey Abrams is ready for a national stage. I really don't. I think that some of her responses when she lost, it wasn't a very gracious way of losing, and I just don't think that she's ready for a national stage, and this could very well be like, the Sarah Palin pick. We'll see, but I think that there's a real risk there. There's this thing going on here. Let me bring this other story here at the bottom. Bernie Sanders' team is acutely aware that there is an impression that he is not electable. And they've been addressing that this week, and his advisors and so forth have been talking about it. Um, Somebody from MoveOn, one of his advisors that is a top strategist at MoveOn.org, said, "You'll often hear arguments from centrist and more corporate aligned Democrats that a candidate needs to run as a centrist to win, but those comments say more about the commenter's interests and ideology. They don't actually tell you much useful about political outcomes." No, sorry, you're wrong. 75% of the electorate, according to some polls, say that they will not vote for a socialist. And Bernie Sanders is seeming like a socialist. And so you've got this whole dynamic here where you got like, okay, this Beto guy, he's not maybe not mature enough for this. And some of these other people are just way too far left to get elected. And then so Biden is forced to come in and run because he's the only hope, the only person with a chance of beating President Trump. But he's too old. So he's only going to run for one term to save us from Donald Trump. I'm just not so sure that that is a winning argument in an election. The presidents that tend to get elected and tend to have staying power are people that have a positive message about the change that they want to take the party towards or the country towards. And when you're just saying, we're just going to get this guy out and then run out the clock, I'm not sure that that's an effective message for the Democrats. And in particular, I'm not so sure that that's going to be a message that is going to get people to vote for you in the primary. So I have this like huge, I'm really not sure because it's polling right now only shows that Bernie and Biden could actually beat Donald Trump. I think that Kamala Harris is a strong candidate, but so far she's not really been standing out. And frankly, she's been doing some of, well, so let me show you these two other stories that we have here. So first of all, this one is good actually. I actually really like this idea, but Kamala Harris said, "I'm declaring to you that by the end of my first term, we will have improved teachers' salaries so that we close the pay gap." California Democrat said in Houston to a group of supporters, because right now teachers are making over 10% less than and other college educated graduates, and that gap is about 13,000 a year. And I am pledging to you that through the federal resources that are available, we will close that gap. So I think this is a great idea. But they didn't really roll it out. I didn't really see a whole lot about this story. I had to dig for this when I dig through every headline that had to do with Kamala Harris this week. It wasn't a very national story. And it seems like, she kind of has to raise her profile to get above these two guys, and she's not really doing it. But then she also came out with this. She says that she wants to give everybody $500 a month. So it would be, if you make less than $100,000 a year, you would get a $6,000 tax credit. And then that tax credit would be given to you every month in the form of $500. And this is kind of like a minimum guaranteed income sort of a thing, except for that it's money that you already made. It's just being given back to you because you paid it in taxes and they give it back. And I just don't think that people are that dumb. I think that they're going to know that this is just a tax deduction. So she's starting to move back over to here now that Biden has come out to be such a strong, almost sole guy over here as the centrist. And I'm starting to get the impression of like she's trying too hard and that she doesn't really have a very clear ideological direction. And so I don't think that the Democrat Party loyalists or like activists are really going to want to coalesce around her anymore. I think that they're going to all go for Bernie, right? Because personally, at the start of this, I would have said if I was a Democrat, I would be going for Kamala Harris because she seems like she's the one that has enough chops and isn't so far left that maybe she can pull it off. But now that's kind of not happening. So you got like these guys are too far left, and you got Biden. I don't know, and I'm not the only person that's noticing this. I'm starting to get this impression from people like that they think that Donald Trump is going to win and that they're going to lose. Which it's obviously it's way too early to be saying that sort of thing, but that's just kind of the mood that I've been getting this week. It changes a lot, but that's the mood that's this week. And I really think that there's an opportunity for one of the candidates. It could be Beto, but for somebody to step up here and say, hey, look, no, actually, what I believe is not so crazy, and I don't want to turn America into a socialist paradise, but I am still a progressive, and you guys don't have to turn to old, Uncle Joe to save the Democrat Party. So that's kind of the race as I see it today. And yeah, I guess we will see what happens. Of course, again, I don't know if there's going to be too much news from the Democrat presidential campaign this week, just because everybody's going to be wanting to talk about the Mueller investigation. But by the time you see this, you'll probably already know everything there is to know. So we'll see. But in the meantime, stay profitable, friends.